Hi guys, and welcome to the Bushman Ron 00 channel. I'm Ron, and this is my top 10 winter warming tips. So first of all, we're going to go with the most basic: water. Try to keep yourself dry. A nice waterproof jacket is always good. Waterproof trousers, these are very good to keep the water off you. However, they don't only keep water out, they also keep water in. Now, you've had it before. You're hiking a distance or you're working a lot, you've got your waterproof jacket on and it's making you sweat. Well, this sweat has been trapped on the inside of your waterproof jacket, and what happens then? You get pooling under your pits and all your creases. You're chafing, really uncomfortable, but most importantly, you're wet. And when you finish that activity, exercise, whatever you're doing, your body starts to cool down, and before you know it, those damp patches have bled the heat from your body and you are getting cold faster than normal. So don't be frightened, or don't be worried about shedding some of your waterproof gear. If it's not raining, take it off. You can stay warm while you're active. As soon as it starts raining, put it back on again. This will stop you getting cold unnecessarily and getting uncomfortable just because you didn't want to take your waterproofs off. So the second one is your hat. Now look at my beautiful chrome dome here. It's not the fashion for everyone. A lot of you have hair out there, and when it's raining, mainly when it's misty or drizzle, you don't tend to notice that your hair is getting wet. You're insulated by it, so you keep warm. But what happens when you stop walking or you stop doing your activity? That hair then becomes a form of reducing your heat. The wind is blowing past the water is evaporating, convecting the heat from your body, making you cold. Now, if it starts raining, just put a hat on. If it's snowing, put a hat on. If you're sweating a lot, it sounds weird, but put a hat on. It stops the moisture evaporating from your head and cooling your body down. Tip 3, gloves. Now we all know that our heads, our hands and our feet are extremities which our bodies use like a air conditioning system to expel the heat when we're overheating. The only problem with that is when we're not trying to lose heat, they do exactly the same thing. Just like a dog's paws evaporate the heat from his body, we evaporate our heat through our hands, our heads and our feet. Make sure you've got a good pair of gloves. If you can get a pair which are waterproof, even better, especially if it's raining. You don't want your gloves to get sodden and get into your hands and then start to working the opposite way of cooling your hands down rather than keeping them warm. Okay, time for tip number 4. As you can see, we're in this beautiful wood by Kenilworth, and it's an absolutely stunning, beautiful day to be talking about winter warmers, but we are in the middle of October and it's probably the nicest day for the last month. So here we go. Tip number 4. Do not drink copious amounts of alcohol. Who, me? Never. But there is some truth in that. I mean, the survival programs always tell you, alcohol thins your blood, makes you lose heat quicker, it aids cooling down. So yeah, we go camping, everybody goes camping. If you're going up a mountain, don't take 15 cans of beer with you, It's common sense, you wouldn't be able to carry it. But all that liquid is going to, 1, make you expel heat through your urine, 2, cools your body down through the alcohol effect, and 3, get you up every 5 minutes in the middle of the night, getting you colder and colder and colder when you're going for a pee. Do like me, have a little tipple with your nighttime drink, and that should satisfy you. Come across a nice bushcraft den here in the woods. It looks well built, it's quite small on the inside. Maybe I'll put a photograph up here later if I can do it on the computer, maybe not. So tip 5, before you go to bed, try to keep warm obviously, but if you can, give yourself a nice hot meal, and a nice hot drink. Now, the reason I say an hour before you go to sleep is because naturally after you've had a drink, within the hour your body will naturally want to go to the toilet. Now that is a perfect time. Once you've gone to the toilet, it's a perfect time to go to sleep, because that will give you the biggest time span between going to bed and waking up for another pee. So that will aid sleep, it'll aid comfort. Your body will turn the food and the drink, well, the drink and the food will warm your body from the inside anyway, but the energy that's given to you through the food and drink will also generate heat in the middle of the night, which aids your comfort and your sleep. Enough said. I'm just loving this old wood. It's a lot different from last time I came here 10 years ago, but it's still fascinating to me. So tip number 6. 6 is for socks. Now it might sound a bit odd to you, but you're going to take off your socks that you've been wearing all day and you're sweaty in, you can't help that, and then you're going to put on, just before bedtime, you're going to put on a nice warm dry pair. A lot of people suffer, their extremities get cold in the night, and even the most expensive sleeping bags can be prone to cold spots. If you put a warm pair of socks on, this will keep you from being distracted and woken up in the middle of the night, which will aid your sleep. If you're comfortable at night, then you'll sleep longer and you'll stay warmer. The more you wake up and rustle around, the colder you will get. Tip number 7, insulation. Now whether you be sleeping on the floor or in a hammock, you'll be using something like a roll mat, an insulation pad. Hammock would be like a preferable underquilt. All these are going to protect you from the cooling elements. Just like I'm doing here, I've got a wet log I'm sitting on, and I'm sitting on my bag. Why am I sitting on the bag? Because I would get cold sitting on something where it's going to draw the heat right out of me. So even if you look at the homeless people in your daily lives, wherever you see them, you're going to notice that none of them sleep directly on the floor. and that's because they know the importance, or they've learnt the importance of keeping a barrier between them and the floor. Which leads me on to tip 8. Now, the elements are great for drawing the heat out of you. So you've got to think about your environment and how that's going to affect your heat, and how basically it's going to steal your heat from your body. So one, you're not going to camp on a freezing cold day near such thing as a lake or a running river. Rivers are dangerous to camp by at the best of times, but water sources, especially moving water sources, will draw the heat directly from your campsite, from your bed, from you, away from you, because that's how heat works. It wants to go to the coolest thing. Again, don't camp on hard surfaces such as roads. I know it sounds weird, but when some people camp on like farm roads, well, they're full of gravel and concrete and rock. Some people camping caves I wouldn't do particularly, because again, the rocks that you're lying on want to steal the heat from you. Another one would be if you're camped in the middle of a field, it's going to steal a lot more of your heat with the wind passing past your tent than, say for instance, if you were next to a bush or closer to some sort of windbreak, a hill or whatever, just to prevent that wind sucking the heat away from your campsite. So tip number 9. Well, here's a little demonstration of mine. It's a personal favourite and it serves a couple of purposes. I've just set this little demonstration up so I can explain it to you in full. Now there's my coat. I've tucked the sleeves in both sides and done the zip up. So I've then created a miniature bivy bag for where I would put my feet in my sleeping bag inside there. And if you've got problems with your feet being cold, that's too much like that. If you've got problems with your feet being cold, that is a very, very good solution. And now we come to number 10. And some would say this is the most primal form of heat, but I'd say the most primal would be bodily warmth and snuggling next to somebody else. But if you've got no one to snuggle next to, you're going to go to this one, and it's the Bush TV. You guessed it, fire. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm in a wood such as here today and I've got a little fire going, we're talking a personal fire here, you know, maybe a foot around, it's going to keep you warm. You're not going to be setting up a massive fire, and nobody's going to be bothered about you setting a fire up. Also, if you're far enough away from civilization, nobody cares. As long as you clean up after yourself and leave no trace, nobody knows. The phrase is, what the eye don't see, the mind don't worry about. So you leave no trace, nobody knows you were there, nobody's there to get upset. And even if somebody did see you smoke and sent, say, a police officer across, not even the harshest police officer is going to turn around and say, oh, hold on mate, you're freezing to death, put that fire out. They would just come across and say, make sure you clean up after yourself, don't stay like longer tomorrow, you know, disappear in the morning, which all bushcrafters and wild campers do tend to do, unless of course they're set up in their own woods and they've got a big fire pit going there, but we don't all have the luxury of that, do we? So they're my top 10 winter warmers. If you've got any suggestions that maybe I haven't thought about there, I'd love to hear them, and I'd love to make use of them. And maybe if you give me a great suggestion, my next video coming up to November now, I'm going to camp in a few weeks time, maybe I'll put that in and tag you in on that. Leave a comment below and see how it goes. Just before I go, I'd like to tag 2 of the YouTubers. One, friends of mine, daft as a brush, and they're called the Hairy Pikers. Have a look on their channel, it's relatively new, but they catch some cracking pike, and they do it with a bit of fun added in too. And also Gareth and Zoe's Wild Camping. Now I clocked onto them one evening, started watching their channels. I've probably watched about 10 videos or more even, and I absolutely love the places they go, the fun they have doing it, the laugh they have doing it. It's all done with a sense of humour, but they've got some absolutely beautiful photography going on there, and they go to some absolutely beautiful places. What do you think of the angle of this shot? Stuck my camera up a tree, for God's sake, just to make it more interesting for you. How weird is that? Lashing down with rain, beaming sunshine. I blame that bugger up there, I do. Just because he didn't want to take the waterproof off. Now, the second one, I have forgotten. Well, you've been watching. Okay, so thank you for watching. Okay, so that's my top 10 winter warmers. You're watching Bushman Ron 00. So I'll get back to you in a minute. I've got to figure out what number I'm on.